I have no idea if this will work out, but I might have found like a little bit of a loophole to my current problem. Phone. Using phone, I think. We'll see. I don't know if this will work either. There we go. All right. There we go. I might have found a solution to my current problem. Phone. Using a phone. I don't know how well it'll go, you know, but we can try it. We can certainly try it. Because I did have room. I had planned on a live stream today. It's just weird that I have to kind of like I have to like set everything up over here while simultaneously trying to check over there, and I'm not even getting any chat over here. How does one use their phone to go live? I can't even see anything. I don't even know if it's working right now. There could be people talking to me right now, and I would never know. Let's see here. If there is anyone talking right now, I do apologize. I will be right with you. I'm still figuring things out. Let's go. There we go. Hello. Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Yeah, so of course we were having some issues with the whole thing. Let me get like some of this fixed up real quick. Have I heard of the newest dinosaur, a hadrosauroid called a Cariachiurus? I don't even know what that's called. I don't even know how to pronounce that. But no, I have not heard of that. I have heard of the new pachycephalosaur called Zavacephalae. In fact, I'm currently reading on it. Like I've been doing a little bit of research because I plan on doing a video tomorrow about it. I got like this whole thing right here, kind of like detailing the little fella. It's a really good discovery, that's for sure. Mainly due to the completeness of it. That's like different for Pachycephalosaurus to be that complete, and the fact that its skull is completely complete too. Completely complete, apparently. So yeah, it's very cool. Do I do paleo art? Sometimes. Sometimes. I don't do a lot, but I do sometimes try to draw. I don't, again, not a lot. I try my best, but yeah, to a small extent I do. Um There we go. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure a couple things out here. Um, do you know about Mekele Mbembe? Yes, I do know about Mekele Mbembe. It's of course like it's one of those classic like dinosaurs existing in the Congo type thing. Um, obviously there's like really no substantial evidence of it, rather than like first-hand accounts. But it's a cool little thing. Nice desk setup you got there. Thank you, Mr. Dinosaur Nerd. I appreciate it. I try. I like my water bottles. It's hot here in the summer. Though we're towards the end of the summer, so that's fun. Hey Dino Guy, I've been working on a fan project called Jurassic Park Eclipse, a lore-accurate, retcon-free, figure-based film. I'd love to know if you'd be interested in something like this. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'm sure I'll probably end up watching it at some time or another. Did you know that Ceratosaurus is related to Carnotaurus? I did know that. I did indeed know that. Ceratosauria, I believe all the belosaurids are a part of Ceratosauria. Real quick, I need to fix something. There we go. That was weird. What is my favorite dinosaur? Yours is Torvosaurus. Torvosaurus is a good one. That's a very good choice. My favorite is Spinosaurus. I have a lot of favorites in general. But Spinosaurus is probably up there as one of my all-time favorites. I'm still trying to fix a few of the detail issues now that I'm like completely streaming on my phone instead of on the PC. But it seems like I'm having better luck on the phone than I was having on the PC. So this is ultimately probably a better thing. But I need to update like a few of the the details on my PC. Not to mention the quality is not really the best on here, which kind of bugs me a little bit, but it is what it is, I guess. It's better than nothing, I guess. There we go. Everything might be fixed. Okay, all right, we are back again. Yes, we're back again. It should be working now, because I'm on my phone. I went the phone route, so hopefully it's not lagging like it was on the PC. It seems to be doing better, so I think we're fine. No, my internet's great. I don't have bad internet. In fact, I even tested it after the previous 2 attempts today, and it's still high speed. So my guess is it's either an issue with OBS or an issue with YouTube Studio, I don't know, or just an issue with my PC in general. Like that, I guess that is a possibility. It's a relatively new PC, so I don't know if that's the case, but it is a possibility. But anyway, I found a way around it, so we will probably be rocking this for a little bit until I can figure out what's wrong with this, I guess. What's my opinion on Oshalaya hate? Oh, I don't think that anybody should like be tearing anyone down for their favorite dinosaur. And if people do like Oshalaya as a dinosaur, if it's their favorite dinosaur, that is completely justified. But well, there really is no but. Don't hate anyone for their favorite dinosaur. There's no reason to do that. A lot of people think that I hate Oshalaya. I don't hate Oshalaya. I just don't really like when people use Oshalaya to tear down Spinosaurus because objectively we have significantly less fossil material of Oshalaya than we do of Spinosaurus, so we don't really know enough about it to tear any dinosaur down. I think I'm behind a little bit. Let me try to catch up. How can you be a mammal and reptile at the same time, like the Dimetrodon? Well, actually, Dimetrodon is neither of those things. It is not a mammal, and it's not a reptile. It's an early synapsid. A lot of times they're called stem mammals. They're in their own group that led to mammals, but they're not true mammals themselves. They don't have the proper like jaw structure to be considered mammals yet. They're definitely not reptiles because they branched off from the lineage that saw the rise to reptiles like 345 million years ago. So they branched off very early on. So they're just neither of those things entirely. But they're more closely related to reptiles than they are, or sorry, more closely related to mammals than they are to reptiles. When do you think Spino will stop being nerfed? Well, I don't even think it's been nerfed once. That's what I think, because it's an animal. But realistically, in terms of like changes go, there's not much else that can change in its general appearance. We have a lot of the gaps filled in for Spinosaurus, so there's not a lot of room for wiggle room, so to speak, unless there's like some huge thing that we don't know about yet, but there's not much else that could change in that. Behaviors, those could change a lot. but the appearance, not really. Am I a certified paleontologist? Not yet. Working on it, though. Working on it. I'm back to working at the museum. So there's that, and I'm getting all of my necessary training, but I'm not quite a paleontologist yet. What kind of bird ancestors live alongside dinosaurs in the late Cretaceous? All kinds of birds. Well, bird ancestors, that kind of like predates a lot of the ones I'm more familiar with. But like there are a lot of actual birds that lived alongside dinosaurs, especially in the late Cretaceous. Like I have a whole book right here titled Birds of the Mesozoic right there. Great book, and it's filled with all kinds of birds that existed. Oh, they gave me a free bookmark when I bought it, because I bought it at a bookstore in Utah. But yeah, there's all kinds of birds that exist. It's a really cool book, too. It's like a really nice guide. It let me know that there's way more species of Hesperornis than I initially thought. Sorry, I need to fix my mic, so apologies if it's kind of like sounding bad right now. What is my favorite type of fossil? Oh, just body fossils in general. Like, just bones are cool. It's cool that something like that preserves. But footprints are also fun, like trace fossils in general, and eggs are also fun, which can oftentimes be a combination of trace fossils and body fossils, or at least the nests can be trace fossils. They're very cool. They're very cool. Do I know the channel Real Paleontology? He talks a lot about saber teeth. I don't think I am familiar. I might have to check that one out. I love saber teeth. I'm actually here for the live. Been binging the channel lately. I appreciate that, and thank you for showing up to live. I'm doing it on my phone because that's the only thing that works right now. But I have a lav mic. Kanadi, how we doing, man? It's good to see you. What would I say the best time period was? In terms of like general eras and like the ones I'm most passionate about, Mesozoic is probably my favorite. So, yeah. Are horses actually related to rhinos? Yes, they are. They are both odd-toed ungulates. Just peachy, headed home from a long day's work. That's fun. Always fun times, you know, especially when it's a long day's work. What is my favorite dinosaur game/game franchise? So my favorite dinosaur game is tough because I do have quite a few like favorite dinosaur games. I really like Path of Titans. Well, if I'm being real, Prehistoric Kingdoms is my absolute favorite. But in terms of like favorite game franchises, like my favorite all-time game is Red Dead Redemption 2. So that is a cool one right there. If you could travel back in time for a day, where would I go? Where would I go? I would like to go to the Chem beds of, the late Cretaceous. Check out Carcharodontosaurus and Spinosaurus and like kind of like observe them in their natural habitat. That would be pretty cool. Could Stegosaurus walk bipedally? Probably not walk, but it could potentially stand bipedally. It's also possible that baby Stegosaurus would be able to walk around bipedally. In fact, the museum I'm currently working at, they have like 2 baby Stegosaurus statues. They're just up on their hind limbs. It's very cute. What is my favorite terror bird? Forest raucus. It's the one that I was familiar with the most. So, and obviously it's the namesake of the family, so I quite like it. What is the most accurate pick of a T-Rex? There are a lot. I think that Fleshy is probably one of the best depictions out there. And I know it's not a pick, but it is incredibly accurate. And Fleshy is like the giant statue that was done by Blue Rhino Studios that is based off of Sue. Sue, of course, is the one of the most complete dinosaur or Tyrannosaurus specimens out there. I really wish I could view this live on my I can. I should be able to. There we go. Did they find Torvosaurus remains in South America and Africa? As far as I know, I don't think so. At least I haven't heard anything about that. As far as I know, there's like one unidentified species in Germany, but obviously nothing quite there, I suppose. Please tell about Utah Raptor. This is the sixth time asking. Utah Raptor is a really cool dinosaur. It's the largest dromaeosaur in the family, dromaeosaur or raptor, depending on what you want to call it. It was huge. It could potentially weigh up to 1,000 pounds, which is incredibly hefty, and it had this massive sickle claw. Now, I actually have, one second. I don't need these on anyway, but I actually do. This is a hand claw from a Utah raptor, which is sick. It's huge, it's massive, right? But this isn't like, it's huge, but it's not nearly as big as their sickle claw on their foot. And I'm gonna buy one of those eventually, and that'll be like about double the length here. They were really hefty animals and really quite terrifying. Will there be more reactions on the Weird Bird series? Lakota wants to, so probably. I assume we'll be doing that sometime within the near future. Here, let me catch up a little bit. Given the choice between Australotitan, Baryonyx, Gigantoraptor, or Shri, which one would you choose? That's a good question. I would probably choose Baryonyx, though, mainly because I just really find Spinosaurids fascinating. If not Baryonyx, Australotitan would be pretty sick. It is a large sauropod, after all, and who doesn't love large sauropods? So one of those two. Well done, you've made me jealous now. I want a replica of some fossils. Dude, replica of fossils, they're just awesome. Like, I just recently got this. I got this in Utah Raptor State Park. I got an Allosaurus claw replica. They're awesome. Like, you don't always necessarily need the real fossils, of course. The replicas do just as fine because they're incredibly accurate as well, and they have, like, the accurate size and whatnot. And this is horrifying. This is really horrifying. What's the point in documentaries depicting raptors as pack hunters if we don't have any evidence for that in real life? There are still some scientists who think that the evidence that we have is substantial enough to argue for pack behavior. Obviously, there's really not much evidence to help support it, but there are some scientists who still think that. And a lot of documentaries, when they're making their documentaries, like when the producers are making them, they want to really hone in on the things that people are familiar with. And people are really, really familiar with pack hunting raptors, mainly because of Jurassic Park and whatnot. So it's kind of become like a paleo meme, in a way, a paleo art meme, to just have raptors or dromaeosaurs in packs, which is a little bit unfortunate because, again, there's really no substantial evidence for it. Do I feel like Alan Grant now? Yeah, I do. Yeah. Even though it's not the toe claw, but it's close enough. This is actually about as big as the toe claw in Jurassic Park, so I guess it is pretty close. What will I be doing for the 100th episode of The Many Interpretations of? Well, that's actually a good question, and I don't know. Because I just realized that we are very close to the 100th episode. I realized, like, last week, and I was like, what am I going to do about that? And I don't know. I'm open to ideas, though. Because I'm not too sure what to do quite yet. Why is Spinosaurus my favorite? Because it's a weird dinosaur. It's so fascinating. Like, there's not really any good analogs in the real world of what Spinosaurus was. And the more we learn about it, the more fascinating it gets because of that. It's such a cool dinosaur. Triberosaurus, for the many interpretations of, that'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool, that's for sure. Is it true that Tyrannosaurids like Daspletosaurus, Albertosaurus, and T-Rex itself were more cooperative than dromaeosaurids like Deinonychus, Velociraptor, and Utahraptor? There's really not much evidence for them either, is the thing. Albertosaurus has the best argument because there was a bone bed found of various different ages, various different Albertosaurus specimens of different ages. And there's no evidence of other animals being present in the burial, so it's possible that this was a family group that simply lived together. But Albertosaurus is mostly just like the only one that has the best evidence to support it. And even that could be seen as kind of shaky. Because, like, the problem with pack hunting, and, like, this is a great example right here. Komodo dragons don't pack hunt. They don't hunt in packs. They sometimes work together in loose mobs to take down large prey items. Well, let's say hypothetically a group of Komodo dragons are going after a water buffalo, and all of them happen to get caught in a flood and buried immediately, and they were all buried together. Well, millions of years in the future, paleontologists would dig that up, and it would look like Komodo dragons were pack hunters, even though they're not. So that's kind of the problem with assuming pack hunting from simple, groups like that. It's difficult to identify. In fact, understanding or the book up here, Uncovering Dinosaur Behavior, actually talks about how much of a like how tricky it truly is to identify. Great old one. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. How accurate are the Spinosaurus in Jurassic World Rebirth? They have elements of accuracy. Their tail is accurate. Their sail's accurate. Their arms are accurate, but they do have a shorter neck that is more beefy than Spinosaurus had in life, and their snout shape is not quite correct. Like, it doesn't have quite the correct shape. But they're not bad. There's still some elements about them, their accuracy, and some elements that I appreciate, especially the tail. Like, I love that they did that tail. Thank you again for the donation. I appreciate it. It turned into an analog horror for a second, for me at least. Ooh, that's no good. Hopefully that's not an issue with my... I haven't been having any issues on my end. So hopefully it does good. If you could see any dinosaurs that's 100% accurate, or paleo accurate rather, what dinosaur would you have to pick? I would pick Spinosaurus. It changes so much, or Pachycephalosaurus. I would like to see Spinosaurus because it is my favorite dinosaur, and I just would love to see what it would look like. But I'd like to see a juvenile, and that's because of the Nanotyrannus debate. I would like to see what a juvenile T-Rex really looks like and see if Nanotyrannus even is its own genus, because I'm not convinced that it is. Pachycephalosaur, Zavacephalae. Yes! I actually talked about that a little bit when we first went live. I am currently working on making a short for it. And the way that I prepare to make shorts is I just get a bunch of information down. See, I drew its skull right there. Its skull is so cool. The fact that it's a complete skull and it doesn't have any deformities in it, because a lot of times they get distorted by the weight of rocks and stuff during the fossilization process, but it doesn't have any of that. It's so cool, and I can't wait to talk a little bit more about it. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. Why did reptiles dominate the globe for so long from the Permian to late Cretaceous? So reptiles, I don't know if they really dominated the Permian. For the most part, the animals that dominated the Permian were therapsids and synapsids in general. So the ancestors to mammals. But in terms of in terms of them dominating during the Mesozoic, they were able to take over because the synapsids took a heavy blow in the end Permian, early Triassic extinction. Now, obviously, synapsids still did great after that because Lystrosaurus survived and it was the most abundant land animal at the time. But that still kind of shook synapsids up a little bit, and reptiles were able to sort of become the dominant force up until, obviously the Pseudotsuchians and up until the dinosaurs, which dinosaurs wouldn't really start to get their footing until the late Triassic, and they wouldn't really get they wouldn't start to dominate until the early Jurassic. The Jurassic in general is when they really started to flourish and saw their most diversity. Juveniles of it, which kind of shakes my whole world view. I actually just made a video about this that should be going up tomorrow. It's a long form YouTube video, but kind of about this. But basically, we know the colors of Sinosauropteryx. We know the specimen's colors, but that specimen is a juvenile, which means that we know the juvenile's colors. We still don't know what the adults looked like. That just gave me an existential crisis. Uh-oh, we have lag. That's no good. I don't have any lag on my end. I hope that's not affecting everybody, and I hope it's not affecting everything too much. We're doing good. We're doing pretty good. You don't think the YouTube? I don't think the YouTube likes me either. That is quite annoying. I hope it resolves. I apologize, everybody, if it's a big problem right now. Yeah, I apologize if it's a big problem. Hopefully it's not, but I apologize if it is. Okay, so we'll try to continue. I don't want to end the stream. We'll try to continue. Can you actually tell on what type of dinosaur based on only on fecal matter? Sometimes. It depends on the area and it depends on what types. Yeah, like it's basically it just depends on the area. Like we were able to determine if there was a T-Rex coprolite because it was filled with pieces of other animals because it belonged to a carnivorous animal, but it was huge and there was only one animal that we know of in the area that eats other animals and would have been that big, and that being T-Rex. So sometimes we can determine. Other times it's kind of shaky, but yeah, oftentimes we can determine. What do I think wins in the fight? An accurate Rex or the JP3 Spinosaurus? I'm not good at fights, determining fights, but I think the T-Rex would probably do pretty darn good overall. Do I have any book recommendations on the topic of dinosaurs? So one in particular that I've been reading that... What's a good one? What's a good one to give you? There's a good one that I really enjoyed. I read a couple of times. We have Uncovering Dinosaur Behaviors, What They Did and How We Know by David Hone. That's a good book. I quite enjoyed it. It gives you a good understanding of how dinosaurs, like, it gives you an understanding of how we could determine dinosaur behaviors, and it also acknowledges the fact that there's a lot we simply don't know. Did I see the Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 4 trailer? Yes, I actually made a video about it. Pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. Would I want a fossil Pokemon Spinosaurus? Absolutely, I would love that. That would be so sick. What is my opinion on Saltopus? I don't even know what that is. Let me Google it real quick, and then I'll give you my opinion. Ooh, what's this little fella? Genus of very small bipedal dinosauriform. So it's likely not a dinosaur, but rather something that belongs to the larger clade known as the dinosauriforms. That's cool. I like it. Awesome. Mr. Wedapone, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Why not instead of pack hunting, but parents teaching their young how to hunt, or a feeding frenzy? Feeding frenzies are way more likely than coordinated pack hunting, and parents teaching their young is also likely. But like actual living in groups, I wouldn't say it's likely, but it's a little bit more possible than actually living in groups. Pack hunting is already rare in nature today, and it's even more so rare in in reptiles. Dinosaurs were reptiles. There's no other way to cut it. They were indeed diapsids, sauropsids, you know, all that good stuff. And so because something's not common today, you can't assume that it was common in the past. You have to assume that it was also uncommon in the past. So it's pretty unlikely that pack hunting was a thing. Does it make any sense that non-avian dinosaurs like T-Rex are related to reptiles? Well, I mean, they are reptiles in the truest sense. Like I said, dinosaurs are 100% reptiles, including birds. It does make sense, you know, that, I mean, our newest method of classification doesn't really go off of what we used to go off of. Like back in the day, reptiles used to be categorized as like having scaly skin, being cold-blooded, and having a sprawled stance. You know, those were often what we thought of when we thought of reptiles. Nowadays we know that that's incredibly flawed because you could evolve certain things due to environmental pressures over time that are not exactly a part of what you are categorized. So now we're just based off of phylogenetics, where you are what you come from. Like, because dinosaurs evolved within a reptile clade, they are reptiles. Have I heard about Colossal bringing back the Moa? And do I think it means they're going to revive the Haas Eagle as well? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't read too much into it. I'm not a big fan of Colossal. Well, some of their work is fine, and it could potentially help with conservation if they apply it in the correct way. I don't know if they're applying it in the correct way currently. Those animals are extinct. That's how it is. These are all huge publicity stunts. There's no reason to introduce something like a dire wolf, for example, because that niche doesn't exist anymore. As far as the MOA goes, I don't know how that would exactly benefit the environment, and same goes for Haas Eagle. So I don't know if that exactly helps out with conservation. The thylacine makes more sense, I believe. I think that there is still a hole for thylacine that exists, that can be filled. But I don't know. It's kind of frustrating. I also know about the dodo thing. They're going to keep doing their thing, gets eyes on their product and gets more funding, which could potentially help in the future if they ever eventually get to that point. Can I make a video about the dinosaurs and creatures from King Kong 2005 for the 20th anniversary? The 20th anniversary is this year. That is right. It came out in 2005. That's a great idea. Actually, I was going to work on Land Before Time next in terms of that series, but King Kong is probably a better idea. What day specific, like what month did it come out specifically? I should probably type in release date. Just call King Kong a Gigantopithecus. December. I have time then. So then I could still do it. I could do the Land Before Time, and then I could do King Kong eventually. Great old one. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. In the novel Jurassic Park, Grant's raptor excavation describes bits of bones breaking away. Does that make him incompetent? Oh no, bones that happens a lot of times when you're out in the field trying to dig up fossils, because a lot of them are shattered because a lot of fossils that you find are on the surface, and erosion affects fossils too, so they kind of like decay and become a little bit more brittle over time, and some of them are just inevitably probably going to break away. Would a Stematosuchus make a good pet? I kind of feel like it'd be a painful pet. Was there any video game that genuinely disappointed you? Ooh. That's a good question. I don't know. Probably Multiversus. I thought that was going to be a fun game. Opinion on Priconodon. Ooh, isn't that an ankylosaurian? Let me check real quick. Priconodon. Yeah, it's an ankylosaurian. Is it only known from teeth? It's probably only known from teeth. Looks like the holotype is a tooth, so it's probably one of those situations. Probably wouldn't know too much about it. Mr. Wenapon, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Say Dino Guy, I've heard of an idea. What if real scientists use the fake dire wolves by Colossal Bioscience as a segue, as the segue parents for the real ones? I think that's essentially their plan. But again, there's really no benefit to reintroducing the dire wolf, so I don't know if we even need that much effort placed into it. Would I rather have to fist fight with Apache or try to ride an angry trike? Oh, dang. Those are options that get me killed. I guess I'll... Shoot. I'll try to fist fight Apache. I don't know. That feels like that's going to mess me up, though. It's also known from a femur, I think, that made it 50 feet long. Holy moly. That's insane for Priconodon. That's insane. Obviously, that's probably overestimations, but yeah. Where did you get that Spinoskull replica that is seen in the background of many of your videos? Yeah, you can't see it, but I got this. My wife got this for me, actually. She got it off of an Etsy shop, and it's 3D printed, and it's really cool. I quite like it. You know, it's always really cool to have replicas like that. Kanani, thank you for the donation. If Paleo Pizza is the rage bait wizard, what are you? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just Dino Guy. I haven't gotten a name yet. Mr. Wenupon, thank you for the donation. Sorry, I meant surrogate parents. Did I read segue though? I think that's not even the correct. I think that's more my fault. No, you're fine. I think that's mostly my fault. I think I read segue. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I am. I am the dinosaur guy. I look for truth and justice against the rage bait wizard. You might be the celebrity of the group. I don't know about that. I don't know. It's weird to me that I'm known. Am I unmuted? Hopefully I'm unmuted now. Okay. I got a phone call. Apparently a phone call mutes it. Okay. I'm good now. Okay, sweet. Look at of rage bait. Dude, biology, he's relentless with it. He is relentless with it. Hey, Dino Guy, very sorry for asking so many times, but what would be one thing, sorry, I'm bad at reading, one thing you'd want to add to Jurassic Park Eclipse? I'm trying to get some YouTubers to give submissions into the movie. I would love to see Metriacanthosaurus because in canon, apparently Metriacanthosaurus has been canon since the first film, but we've just never seen it. I would love to see Metriacanthosaurus. But we love him all the same, right? No. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he's one of my best friends. You know, he's a good guy. I like him. Who had the strongest bite, T-Rex or Purosaurus? I don't know what the bite force of Purosaurus is, but I feel like Deinosuchus is often placed above T-Rex, so I feel like T-Rex. I don't know. Maybe Purosaurus. I'm not too sure. What is my favorite dinosaur name? There are a lot of very fun dinosaur names that just make me chuckle every time I hear them, but Gremlin has to be one of them. Gremlin is just fun. It's a fun dinosaur name that fits the dinosaur that they gave it to. Like, I'm glad that they called it Gremlin because it just makes sense. How'd you all meet? So through TikTok, basically. When I was, growing my TikTok page, I started becoming mutuals with a few different people, and I followed biology eventually, and then eventually I reached out to him and said, "Hey, we should do a collab." And so we did a collab at one point, and then eventually biology came back to me at one point, months later, and he said, "Hey, I'm currently playing." I don't know how he and Lakota met, but he said, "I'm playing Path of Titans with Lakota. Do you want to join?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll join." I didn't really know Lakota at the time, but I joined, and then we all became buddies. Would you like to see a recreation of Jurassic Park or World with accurate dinosaurs? I don't know about a full-on recreation, but I would like to see other projects that implement accurate dinosaurs. Why does Allosaurus mean different lizard? I can't remember the exact reason. I think it had something to do with their vertebrae that was just very, very different from most other dinosaurs that were found. I think I can't remember the exact reason. But the reason why it was named different lizard, I know that it was named for a specific reason, but then it was later found out that it wasn't exactly so different from other theropods, so it was kind of like a name that didn't really fit. I was watching Dino Guy lore, I love it. Yeah, man, Dino Guy lore. I was watching a video about the history of invalid dinosaurs from a couple decades ago. If they were actually valid in the fossil record, do you think our knowledge of dinosaurs would be heavily altered? In some cases, I'm sure. Because there were some pretty interesting dinosaurs that were once considered to be valid. For one thing, a lot of these invalid dinosaurs were simply just species of dinosaurs that are still valid. Like there was a lot of species of iguanodon that are no longer valid, or Megalosaurus, or I think even like Diplodocus and whatnot. So that'd probably be very interesting to try to juggle. I'm pretty sure it's because of the vertebrae. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I just can't remember the exact reason. It was like they found it and it was different, so they named it different lizard, but then it turns out that most theropods had what they thought it was different for. I just can't remember exactly what it was. I know a Pokemon YouTuber who streams, and I bombed some difficult dinosaur names plus a croc because I was complaining about Bastiodon, and he didn't know Pachyrhinosaurus. Should I show him Gremlin? Yes, absolutely. Show him Gremlin. Gremlin's awesome. Dad, how we doing? If I, mispronounce that, I'm sorry, but how you doing? Your stream was bugged? That's no good. Have I seen the short movie Queen of Nublar? Yes, I have. It was pretty cool. I quite liked it. I thought it was pretty fun. Why did you want to start a YouTube channel about dinosaurs? Just wondering about the Dino Guy history. I started out by, I started back in 2012, and I did some dinosaur stuff, but I mostly tried to do like Minecraft gaming back when I was like 12. And that went nowhere for years. I did that for about a decade. And then recently, I came across like Casual Geographic's videos like back in 2022 or so, and I was like, hey, I know a lot about dinosaurs. I could probably apply that same thing. So I started on TikTok, and then eventually I was able to expand onto YouTube. You pronounce it well? All right, good. I'm always so scared whenever I try to pronounce people's names, and I always butcher it. Thoughts on the Land Before Time franchise? Oh, it's a great franchise. I've been slowly showing some of those movies to my daughter because obviously I grew up with them, and I was like, you need to know this, Do you ever find it difficult to correct TikTok trends that are just super wrong about dinosaurs? Yeah, and it happens a lot. It's a lot of times it is difficult because sometimes the video, like whenever you try to make a correction about something that is kind of like a misconception, your videos will end up in the wrong crowd. And you'll just have a lot of people who are now mad at you because they think that they are in the right, when in reality they're just kind of like still falling into the misconception. That's cool. Yeah, it is cool. 10 years trying to be a Minecraft YouTuber. Well, it was Minecraft for a little bit. I eventually gave up on Minecraft about like a year or so in and tried doing skits and stuff. I also I tried talking dinosaurs with a buddy of mine at the time, and again, none of that really went anywhere. Eventually, when I was in high school, I decided to try to do videography and photography because I didn't believe myself. I didn't believe in myself to become a paleontologist. I didn't think I was smart enough, and so I tried doing that, and I applied a lot of that to my videos. So there's a lot of short films on my old channel that I will never reveal because they're stupid and they're cringy, but eventually I found my space. Would I rather fist fight a pack of 3 velociraptors or take on a juvenile T-Rex with a 5-inch dagger? Look, I wouldn't even want to fight one velociraptor, but those are both terrifying. I guess I'd have a better chance against the T-Rex given the fact I have a dagger. It's something, I guess. I don't see myself living either of those, though. How likely was the flap of skin on Parasaurolophus? I honestly don't know. I've never found anything that supports that or anything that goes against that. I kind of feel like that's completely up to the artist who's depicting it, unless someone else knows something that I don't, which is possible. I sent my old gaming YouTube channel to the dark depths of the void. I hear that. That's exactly what happened to my old channel. I'm sure that I'll show some of those videos at one point in the future, maybe on like 100,000 subscriber special or whatever. But I don't know. Middle schoolers trying to be on YouTube. That was me. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rank the dinosaur era add-on by scientific accuracy? Overall, maybe a 6. A lot of them do have really good elements of accuracy in them. Like, you could definitely tell what you're looking at, which I think is a huge plus. But they're like, a lot of the scaling is off, and obviously not everything's perfect. What do I think about Spicomelis? Spicomelis is pretty metal. It's a pretty metal dinosaur. The fact that I initially described it, like when I made a TikTok about it in a short, I described it as like an arc design because it looks like, you know, like Ark's version of Ankylosaurus. Like, the fact that it has so many spikes, like a whole collar, is just so crazy. Would I rather be in the Jurassic or the Triassic? I feel like I'd rather be in the Jurassic. There's a lot of really cool fauna you can see. What is my favorite Pokemon? What's his name? I spaced on a minute. Tyrantrum is my favorite. I quite like that guy. How's it going, Dino? Hey, Noah, how we doing? And can you talk about Diplodocus hallurum? So, I mean, the genus of Diplodocus, all in all, it's one of the oldest dinosaurs that we know of. One of the oldest American dinosaurs. It's incredibly long, and it's like, I don't know much about the specific species of hallurum, but Diplodocus in general, it's, you know, it's got like an upright neck. It's incredibly long, and there's actually a possibility that it has like the spikes that go down the midline, which is something that we saw in Walking with Dinosaurs. If and when we get a new Mesozoic season of Prehistoric Planet, what 3 dinosaurs should be showcased? Plateosaurus, Coelophysis, and Eoraptor. Because we need more Triassic stuff. I think that I'd love to see some Triassic things in Prehistoric Planet. Yeah, the designs are pretty accurate, but the scaling of some of them is a bit off. The Parasaurolophus is bigger than the Edmontosaurus. The Mosasaurus and Liopleurodon are also undersized. Yeah, that's exactly my thoughts with it. It's like a lot of the designs look great, and I love them, but yeah, the scaling is pretty all over the place. Do I hate a dinosaur? I wouldn't really know about hate. Oh, Hallurum, formerly known as Seismosaurus. You know, you'd think that I would know that, given the fact that I just did the Paleopod episode the other day. But I remember Seismosaurus pretty well. I remember it being like often hailed as like one of the longest dinosaurs until it was eventually reclassified as Diplodocus, which is pretty cool. Triassic period definitely needs more love. I agree, yeah. I agree. I don't understand why some dinosaurs have some of the most badass names, like Maipe or Dreadnoughtus, and then we have some of the stupidest names like Gremlin and Toledo. What's wrong with Gremlin? Gremlin's awesome. I like Gremlin. I don't know. Feathers or scales on Coelophysis. We don't really have evidence for either. But I wouldn't be surprised if they had feathers. It seems more and more likely that the proper mechanisms to develop feathers evolved pretty early on in reptile evolution. So I wouldn't be surprised if the ancestors, like the common ancestor of like dinosaurs and pterosaurs, had feathers. I wouldn't be surprised. And as a result, a lot of those earlier dinosaurs might have had feathers too. Seismosaurus was a cool name. I agree. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's unfortunate it's dubious currently. What's my opinion on Jurassic World Evolution 3's baby Giganotosaurus? I don't think I looked at it enough to have an opinion. Do I know about Jaboria? It had really cool quills on its back. The name rings a bell. Let me check real quick. Jaboria. Oh, it's a sauropod. It's a sauropod dinosaur that lived in what is now Niger during the Middle Jurassic period. And it had quills on its back, you said? That's interesting. No, I've never heard of that one before. That's pretty cool. I like it. Do you think that dinosaurs could be albino? Yes. That's simply just like, that's something that's simply just that's just nature. That's just something that naturally happens, and it happens a lot in animals today. It was likely pretty common for animals in the past too. Favorite dinosaur is a T-Rex, proceeds to show a picture of a mosasaur. Yeah, there's a lot of those. Here's like a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. There's a lot of people who like make lists of dinosaurs, like their favorite dinosaurs on TikTok. It'll be like my top 10 favorite dinosaurs, which is great, you know, definitely show off what your favorite dinosaurs are. But they'll start off by saying like something like Pteranodon, and they'll say, not technically a dinosaur, but it's pretty cool. It's like, well, you could just say my favorite extinct reptiles or my favorite, you know, my favorite extinct animals in general, but they always just put dinosaurs, and then they put mosasaurs, or they put pterosaurs, and they're always like, they always put the text, they acknowledge that it's not a dinosaur, but they're like, I wanted to put it because it's cool. Great, just change your list name, you know, and you can have it. I don't know. That's just a little bit of a pet peeve of mine that's been happening. I met Ubirajara. So, oh, Ubirajara! That's right, the one that was stolen from Brazil. Yes, it is a very cool little animal. And yes, it does have like these little quills that kind of like extend from its shoulders. It's a fantastic creature. And I haven't talked about it in forever. Maybe it's due for another like updated video. Because I like to try to update my videos over time to try to get them like better quality and whatnot. I genuinely can't choose favorites. That's difficult. And I can't rank dinosaurs. I have my favorite dinosaurs, but it's difficult for me to like rank my top 10. I don't know how people can rank their top 50 or whatnot. Dino Guy, what species would you suggest for a villain dino in the Jurassic Park project? I haven't started yet. I had Tyrannotitan chubatensis in mind, but I'm open to suggestions. Yang Tyrannosaurus would be kind of cool. It's an underrepresented dinosaur. Obviously, you know, it's just an idea. I think it'd be pretty cool. You should make a short about these clickbait paleontology videos you see everywhere. I've thought about it before. I've thought about making full videos about things like that. Most specifically, things like the AI-generated videos. I hate those so much, and there's so many of them with these AI-generated thumbnails, and then you click on the video, and it's like an AI-generated voice and AI-generated images, and they always give wrong information, and then you look at the comments, and there's nobody calling it out. It's just everybody saying, wow, I didn't know that. It's annoying. I don't like those. I don't like those videos. And there's so many of them on the internet. I went and saw the original Deputy a couple weeks ago. That's awesome. I would love to do that. That'd be so cool. Common, it's mosasaur. Mosasaurs are awesome. There's a reason why it's very common for people to love it. I think I'm a little bit laggy right now. I think that we were a little bit laggy right there. I apologize, everybody. Hopefully we're fine now. I saw a picture about an Acrocanthosaurus toy that was labeled as Jabaria. The same listing showed a megalodon labeled the giant specimen. The giant specimens. There was only one megalodon shown. That's so weird. There's so many weird things out there that exist with dinosaur representation in media. I don't know what it is. What are your thoughts on Halscaraptor? I haven't read about Halscaraptor in forever, so a lot of my knowledge is kind of iffy. But I know that there's maybe like a possibility that it was semi-aquatic, similar to some like ducks and things like that, in a similar vein because of its like expanded rib cage and whatnot. I don't know where we currently sit with that. I know that it's probably not a dromaeosaur. In fact, it's believed that it split off from the same family that potentially houses Ostroraptor, which might not even be a dromaeosaur either. That's a whole can of worms that I won't dive into right now. I want Utahraptor to be in a Jurassic movie. Me too. Me too. I feel like that's kind of long overdue. I call out AI videos on their accuracy every time. They're so frustrating. I hate them. I hate them so much. I am not a big fan of generative AI in the slightest. And you can never convince me to like it. No matter what justifications are brought up, it doesn't like outweigh the environmental impact it has on it and the fact that it is literally a plagiarism tool. Hate it. Hate it. Utahraptor would be cool in a Jurassic World movie. Yeah, I agree. It would be fantastic, especially after it was portrayed, the way that it was portrayed in Primitive War. I think there's like a lot you can utilize with it. Same dude, AI is so problematic. Yes, there is really not, there's like not a lot of ways for you to like justify generative AI in a way that's convincing to me, that would make me stop and think, oh, maybe AI is incredibly beneficial, especially in the fact that it's incredibly misused today. People use it as a search engine. I've gone into like arguments online with people, like whenever, well, not really arguments, I try to debate them or whatever. I try to like, talking about dinosaurs. And a lot of times they'll say, well, according to ChatGPT, I'm sorry? You're using ChatGPT as your source to try to argue with me about dinosaurs? It's frustrating. It is so frustrating. I hate it. And I don't like the fact that it's just being pushed as like the next big thing. And the people who they're all for it, it's just they'll find any justification. I'm just not a fan. Would you rather take on a full-grown male Ceratosaurus with a hammer and kitchen knife, or take the egg of an angry mother Shantungosaurus? Oh, the Ceratosaurus. Shantungosaurus was huge. It's the largest non-sauropod dinosaur. It was bigger than T-Rex, and it's a mother? I feel like I have a much better chance against Ceratosaurus. Ceratosaurus is probably barely taller than me. I feel like with like the what you said, the kitchen knife, I think, and the hammer, I think I would have a much better chance of survival than against a Shantungosaurus. There is no way I could do that. Going hand to hand with a Ceratosaurus, I'm drawing that. I need to see that now. What family do you think the Indominus Rex would be in? You made a video on Indoraptor, possibly in the Megaraptorid family. So I want your theories on Indom. I've thought about that before. It's much like the Indoraptor, it is kind of tricky. And I've thought about making a short, and I might still. But I would say that it's mostly in line with Carcharodontosaurids. That's mostly based off of its head shape and its overall bulk, and the fact that it has decently sized arms. Carcharodontosaurids still did have short arms, but everything kind of matches Carcharodontosaurids more. There's nothing that is one for one, completely accurate to it, because it is a fictional dinosaur, but I would say that's probably one of the closest. I think AI is where the 2,000 kilogram kilometer Stegosaurus tail originated from. There is also some irony in the short, because it said that it's not dangerous because it was herbivore. That happens all the time. I'll send it to you on Discord when you're done. Awesome, dude. I would love to see that. I never knew this, but Massospondylus was described before Hadrosaurus. Was it? I think so. That sounds about right. That's crazy. Are there any species from evolution that you think definitely should be given the ability to swim in deep water? There's only 5 species that can right now. That's, obviously that's what you're referring to. It's incredibly frustrating because most, if not, most animals can swim today. It happens all the time. Even animals you don't expect, like elephants. It's likely that most, if not all, dinosaurs could swim, and like it does offer new gameplay potential. Like you can use deep water to separate different dinosaurs from each other, or just dinosaurs from different areas. But it still is a little bit frustrating as someone who knows that these dinosaurs could swim, But it's fine. It's not a big deal. What's your opinion on tapirs? I've been growing on them. I oddly find them cute, despite the fact they can remove your own. Oh, I love tapirs. I really love ungulates in general, especially like the ones like that. Like and especially considering the fact that they're just so incredibly like Ice Age like what we often think about when we think of what the Ice Age was, as that being the Pleistocene. That's what they also feel like, Oh, you got a Discord finally? Just need to sign in. Sweet. Hope to see you on the server. Favorite Walking with Dinosaurs episode. The original Walking with Dinosaurs, my favorite episode was the Jurassic one, like the Morrison Formation one with the Allosaurus and the Diplodocus. My favorite, actually no, that's not true. My Triassic was my favorite because I really liked the way that the environment looked, and I always really liked seeing Dicynodonts. But my favorite new one, my favorite 2025 Walking with Dinosaurs episode is Sobek, you know, the Spinosaurus episode. These clickbait paleontology videos also have overused titles like animals you're glad are extinct or animals that are scarier than dinosaurs. Yeah, that happens a lot. I'm going to upload my Argentinosaurus interpretation once I get it. That's awesome. Can't wait to see that, man. It's funny that the closest living relative to whales is a hippopotamus. Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Favorite extinct fish? Mine would be Xenocanthus or Dunkleosteus. Dunkleosteus is a great one. I do really like Ledzichthes because it's just huge. But Xiphactinus is also pretty crazy. Oh, and it looks like we are over time currently, so unfortunately I'm going to have to end the stream because I do have something I have to go and take care of right now. But I'm glad I was able to figure something out. This might be what we do. We might use my phone in the future to do the lives if I keep having issues with the YouTube studio. So yeah, we're gonna try to go live again next week. If I can't figure out the PC, it'll be on the phone again. But thank you everybody for dropping by. It was great to talk with all of you, and I appreciate, you know, just everybody chatting. You know, it's always a pleasure. So I will see all you later. Maybe if I could figure out how to turn this off too.